She wasn't just a white cat. She was a silent guardian this family never expected. In the soft morning light that filled the small room, she sat beside the crib, her bright blue eyes fixed on the sleeping baby. She had appeared one day, a stray with nowhere to go, and the family had taken her in, naming her Snow. Little did they know, she would become so much more than just a pet. From the moment she first saw the baby, something inside her changed. As he stirred from his sleep, his tiny hands reaching out, Snow stepped closer. She sniffed him with a gentle curiosity, her whiskers twitching. The baby, not startled at all, reached out and grabbed a tuft of her soft white fur. A small, contented smile spread across his face, the first one of that morning. It was in that simple, innocent touch that their bond began to form, an unspoken connection between a vulnerable infant and the watchful feline. Snow didn't just see a baby, she saw someone she needed to protect. She never left his side. It was as if she understood he needed her, that his small world was fragile and required a constant, quiet presence. Every day, Snow would curl up beside his crib, her purr a soft, rhythmic hum that seemed to soothe him. When the mother was feeding him, Snow would sit patiently under the chair. When he was on his playmat, she would lie just out of reach, always keeping him in her line of sight. She became his shadow, a silent companion whose loyalty was absolute. The family marveled at her dedication. Other cats might be aloof or independent, but Snow seemed to have found her life's purpose right there in that nursery, watching over the newest member of her family. He trusted her completely. The baby's giggles would fill the room whenever Snow brushed her long, fluffy tail across his tiny feet. He learned to reach for her, his uncoordinated hands patting her warm fur, a look of pure delight on his face. She never flinched, never pulled away. She would simply lean into his touch, her eyes closing in contentment. These small moments of love became the fabric of their days. It was a friendship built not on words, but on shared presence and an instinctual understanding. He found comfort in her warmth, and she found purpose in his safety. Their bond was a quiet poem written in soft purrs and happy gurgles, a testament to the unexpected friendships that life can offer. That night, something was different. She felt it before anyone else did. A strong wind rattled the window panes, and the lights in the house flickered erratically. The baby was asleep in his crib, but his breathing was shallow, uneven. Snow, who had been dozing at the foot of the crib, suddenly lifted her head, her ears twitching, scanning the dark room. Her instincts screamed that something was wrong. A feeling of unease settled over her, a primal sense of danger that she couldn't ignore. The quiet rhythm of the house had been broken, and Snow was the first to notice the discordant note. The baby suddenly made a soft choking sound. His little chest moved strangely, a jerky, unnatural motion. Snow's eyes widened in alarm. She jumped to her paws and let out a sharp, questioning meow. There was no response. She tried again, this time louder, more insistent. Still, nothing. A wave of panic washed over her. Her meows turned into desperate cries, sharp and piercing. A sound the family had never heard from their usually quiet cat. She was no longer just a pet. She was an alarm, a living siren trying to warn the sleeping house of the impending disaster. She fought to make them hear her. She refused to give up. With a desperate leap, she started scratching at the nursery door, her claws digging into the wood, making a frantic, scraping noise. When that wasn't enough, she turned and bolted down the hallway, toward the parents' bedroom. She burst into their room, crying louder than she ever had before, her voice filled with a raw urgency that cut through the silence of the night. She ran back and forth between their bed and the door, her eyes wide, pleading with them to understand, to wake up, to follow her. In that moment, everything stopped. Jolted awake by the frantic cries, the parents sat up in bed, confused and disoriented. They had never heard Snow make such a noise. Realizing something must be terribly wrong, they scrambled out of bed and followed her as she raced back to the baby's room. The sight that met them made their hearts freeze. Their son was struggling to breathe, his face turning a frightening pale color. The father rushed to the crib and lifted the baby into his arms while the mother, her hands trembling, began tapping firmly on his back, trying to clear his airway. Tears streamed down the mother's face as she watched, her breath hitched in her throat. After a few terrifying seconds that felt like an eternity, the baby let out a loud cough, and then another. Finally, a deep, gasping breath filled his tiny lungs. The color slowly returned to his cheeks. Relief so profound it was painful washed over them. They collapsed onto the floor, holding their son close. And there, sitting quietly by the door, was Snow. Her tail trembled slightly as she stared up at them, her job done. She had been their messenger, their furry angel of warning. They knew she didn't just warn them, she saved their child. The parents knelt down, their hands shaking, and gently stroked Snow's soft white fur. Gratitude, immense and overwhelming, filled their hearts. They looked at this small animal, this stray they had taken in out of pity, and saw a hero. That night she wasn't just a cat. She was a member of the family in the truest sense of the word. She had acted on pure instinct and love, her bond with the baby so strong that she sensed his distress and refused to let it go unnoticed. From that day on, everything was different for Snow. She was no longer just the family pet. She was revered. She got her own plush bed placed right next to theirs. She had her own special bowl always filled with her favorite food. She had earned her place not just in their home but deep within their hearts. Yet, despite all the new comforts and privileges, Snow's favorite spot remained the same. Every night she would forsake her soft new bed and curl up on the floor beside the baby's crib, resuming her post as his steadfast guardian. As the weeks passed, the baby grew stronger and healthier, his laughter echoing through the house. His bond with Snow only deepened. She would gently bat at his feet with her paws, her claws carefully retracted, and he would giggle, grabbing onto her snowy fur with his chubby hands. She became his favorite source of comfort, his first and most loyal friend. Their playtime was a daily ritual, a beautiful dance of trust and affection. For the baby, the world was a simple place, and in it, his best friend was a fluffy white cat with the kindest eyes. She brought peace to their home, a quiet serenity that radiated from her pure white coat and gentle heart. One evening, the whole family was gathered in the living room. The baby sat propped up with pillows on the sofa, and Snow, in her usual spot, rested her head gently on his lap. The mother smiled, a warmth spreading through her chest as she watched them. The father reached over and stroked Snow's soft fur, whispering his thanks. She was the missing piece they never knew their family needed, a silent hero who had filled their lives with an unexpected kind of love. One afternoon, a moment of pure magic happened. The baby, who had been babbling and cooing for weeks, was looking directly at Snow as she dozed beside him. Then, clear as day, he whispered, "Ka dot dot." Tat. The entire family froze, their eyes wide with shock and then delight. It was his first word. He hadn't said mama or dada. He had said cat, a tribute to his furry guardian. Snow, as if understanding the significance of the moment, opened her eyes and let out a soft meow, answering him. It was a conversation only they could understand. She didn't ask for anything, she just stayed. That night, as the baby slept peacefully in his crib, his breathing deep and even, Snow was there. She was curled up in her usual spot, her body a small white crescent moon on the floor, her eyes half closed in a state of peaceful vigilance. She hadn't saved him for a reward or for praise. She had done it out of an instinct born from love, a profound connection that defied explanation. Her presence was a silent promise, a constant reassurance that he was safe, that he was loved. She came as a stray, lost and alone, but she stayed as family. As the camera pulls back, the scene settles into a tranquil tableau, a sleeping baby safe in his dreams, and a loyal white cat watching over him. Theirs was a bond no one could have predicted, a love story written in the quiet moments of an ordinary life. She was the hero with the white fur, the silent guardian who saved the child she loved. And in doing so, she saved them all.